bum 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 bum
Drama.
bum.
Action. Comedy. Palace intrigue. Story Squad presents Clash of the Pencils. Welcome, one and all, to a frigid late fall night here in Milford, Delaware. We have some great story matchups for you tonight, as well as recap all the day's highlights in Clash of the Pencils action. Welcome back to another nightly live stream of Clash of the Pencils, the most watched creative writing esport league live stream in the history of the internet. I am your host, Tom Sherman. We are here as we are every weeknight to review the top 3 short story submissions from around the net, get the latest scores, see who's atop the leaderboard, and of course, check in on Storybot 3000's favorite 5 sentences of the day. We field anywhere between 0s and 10s of submissions daily, which then get run through a high-tech computer data science algorithm, also known as Storybot 3000, which uses, among other things, cucumbers to analyze every story. We then take Storybot's top 3 picks and let you, the public, decide tonight's winner. Alongside me today, we've got Greg, the Nutmeg Peterson. Welcome, Greg. What do you got there?
Nothing counters cunning, but more cunning. Coyote's wits are sharp, precisely because he has met other wits, just as the country bumpkin may eventually become a cosmopolitan if enough confidence men appear to school him.
Wow.
Hey, Tom.
Sorry to interrupt that there, but quite the book you're reading. Hopefully it's on par with some of these submissions we have tonight.
I doubt it. These submissions look like they're going to be fantastic.
That is right, you are. And before we get underway, let's remind the folks what everyone's playing for tonight. Besides fame and glory, it's one of these, a unique 1 out of 10,000 IOU NFT. This unique NFT is actually an IOU for a future NFT from an upcoming 10,000 drop from Story Squad. Although the current estimated cash value of this NFT is $100 US, that's not the full value of NFTs. Think of NFTs like keys to the future. Right now, as humans, we interact with businesses and organizations much like ants might their queen, slaving away day in and day out for resources to give to the queen so that she may survive. NFTs turn this one-directional relationship into a community partnership. Owning NFTs of organizations will allow those owners special perks like early access to future products, exclusive content behind paywalls, and access to the inner community. Not only that, but NFTs are transferable, allowing owners to sell at a premium, which in turn appreciate all other NFTs held by community members. So NFTs are part art, part online identity, part admission to a virtual country club, part crypto speculation, part generational wealth, and all real, baby. Something else that's real is our submissions tonight. We've got 3 great ones. So, but at the same time, worthwhile for you to submit your own. Try to get up here on the podium and take that NFT for yourself if you're out there watching.
I will say offline, all we do is geek out about these NFTs. They're so cool. I wish we could show them to you. I don't mean to be coy here, but the hype around them, hopefully my enthusiasm comes off as incredibly genuine and earnest because they look phenomenal, Tom. Phenomenal.
Wow. I've never seen Frazzled Aardvark so unfrazzled about something quite like these NFTs. And they do look exquisite. They do not look like this. Actually, think about the opposite of what this looks like. And that's what the NFTs
you know the irony of this? The rarity of yours are going to be the most valuable.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
That is the contemporary art.
That people are going to be clawing over the IOU NFT at some point. Yeah. I'm certain. So let's take a quick look at the leaderboard. Actually, we have some housekeeping to take care of first. Howard Sternbot got in contact with us. First off, because yesterday there was a simile comparing the car to a 75,000-mile Cadillac, and we kind of expressed confusion. Howard Sternbot saying, "You've got to know, Tom, a Cadillac has 32-valve North Star V8 engine with aluminum heads on the motor. If it overheats one time, the car is useless. 3/4 of them turn into paperweights around 70 to 100,000 miles because somebody doesn't pay attention to the temperature gauge every second of their life like a crazy person." So
that's some context.
That is some context that we did not have yesterday, and it just makes a great line even greater off that. Howard Sternbot also relating this. I was reading back at Slice's story about the murder of crows, at which point someone admits that it's a murder of crows. In other words, somebody admitting to a murder. I followed up and asked if Howard Sternbot thought that meant Slice might be a murderer, and Sternbot saying the only thing they know Slice is guilty of so far is that they are a good writer. But then following up with another so far. So
yeah. I
certainly,
love the sportsmanship. I love the competition. That's
and you know what it shows is Sternbot is out there studying up on in the film room, breaking down sentences day in and day out. Grinding their axe.
8 hours a day.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. That's all I got to say about that. Looking at the leaderboard, and this might be why Howard Sternbot is doing some study. Green 18 on top with 305 points, a 50-point lead over Slice and Howard Sternbot. Meanwhile, Howard Stern, not the bot, at 182. Joanna Man, champion in repeat, all kind of on the outside looking in right now. Need some big nights in order to get into the weekly contention. And then Uncle Screwtape as well in that sort of realm. Dragon Attack, 15 points. Not looking good for Dragon Attack taking over this week's leaderboard. And this is what the authors have to work with today for the writing prompt. At the beach one day, there was a bottle with a note inside that says blank. So interesting. We did get a comment on our Facebook stream. Someone said that the note inside says 5-cent deposit. And that was quite good, Norm. And you should probably be entering stories with some cunning wit like that. Where would you take this prompt, Greg, if you were one of the authors today?
I'm getting a lot of the classic one would be the shipwrecked. Somebody's on an island. Somebody needs saving. So this is the only means of communication. A help message that leads to a larger plot. Do you have any thoughts on where you'd take it?
That's kind of where my head goes immediately as well. I'm not quite sure. I like to leave this to the pros out there, or rather the amateurs. Unless they've won an NFT.
Is amateur? What is we need to talk about NFTs, amateur status. Are they amateurs if they own these very valuable NFTs?
Right. I'll leave it to the pros then. Let me correct the record there. Excuse me. Leave it to the folks out there that are winning these NFTs. I'm more comfortable on this side of the screen, reading the paper rather than writing on the paper.
Right on. Well, let's see what these pros did. I'm dying. Yeah. I'm dying to know.
Good. I'm glad you are, because Storybot picked out 3 good ones, and we're going to start with Champion. Champion coming back into the winner's circle after a couple days on the outside looking in. Okay, so we've got a message in a bottle on the beach. Kind of sounds like a Rum/Hunter S. Thompson sort of thing, Jim said, but he always pitched a hardcore gonzo thing. There's that Sting song we could reference, Trevor said to eye rolls. Sheila from accounting popped her head in. What about a romance of lost lovers? She quickly ducked her head out as crumpled sheets of paper catapulted towards her. Come on, people. Time is running out. We need to get Champion a story ASAP, and it needs crows in it, bellowed the CEO of Brains R Us. Champion's brain cells fell silent. each gazing precisely askew of each other. How about we write up this pitch meeting and hopefully Tom and Greg interpret it as an allegory on corporate life and decisions by committee, PitchBot 3000 queried. Saved by a robot again, said the CEO. Write that up. So inside the pitch meeting of a writer's room, struggling to come up with ideas tangential to the parameters of tonight's prompt, 2 cliches from the writers themselves, and then 1 from an accountant before the CEO reveals the pitch meeting is occurring between brain cells in Champion's own mind and the Deus Ex Machina, or possibly Machina Ex Deus, comes from PitchBot 3000, suggesting an allegory about corporate life and decisions made by committee, which, due to PitchBot's previous successes, quickly gets the rubber stamp from the CEO.
This was very difficult to analyze, given that it's internally inside someone's head, but it's also populated by characters in the head. What I found was so interesting was that I would think PitchBot 3000 would be the one spouting out cliches, because it's purely a function of the data, and like that big data capture, you're going to pick up the cliches because they're cliches for a reason. They're used over and over and over again, so the frequency of that. But no, it's what was it, Judy from accounting? It was the very, very human people that are in this character's mind, that are coming up with the cliches. And ironically, the format sort of undoes itself, because maybe this is an allegory for corporate life.
that's why PitchBot has so many successes.
They're anticipating us saying that, because
right,
it kind of is. It's so meta. It's hard to assess in anything. I would say the plot and setting the setting is interesting, but it was hard to tack on. It was hard to picture like this as a movie.
Mm-hmm.
The plot, I like the idea of CEO of Brains R Us being like whatever your attention actually is on, giving that some sort of like, I don't know, they call it executive function, so I guess that's a good.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Good correlation.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that. Just
putting some connections there.
Yeah.
Wow, doing heavy lifting.
Well, it feels like, Tom, corporate life is confusing all of these stories. The prophecy was correct.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's really they really got us good here. Champion did. I think. Yeah, the characters are kind of one-dimensional, where, like, they only have one line to describe them, but you do kind of get, like, some, the first brain cell is always pitching, some gonzo Hunter S. Thompson story.
Yeah,
and
that feels like every pitch meeting has that, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. The guy that's going way too far. Then you've got the guy that's like, oh, maybe, we make this, tangential reference to a Sting song. Some random person popping in and being like, oh, a romance would be great. So like and then like the papers getting thrown and the groans and the eye rolls. Like, I think the characters had an interesting sort of depth, even though they were in passing. I think the plot might have been the most consequential of these three sets on the triangle. The setting is definitely, just because the plot has that reveal of these aren't people, this is a brain cell. Brain cells arguing.
I love how we have all these characters, but we have no idea who the character is. Like, right. The actual person who's inside this. It was an interesting way of thinking about decision making and all those weird impulses that go into the creative process, and giving them voices and then internalizing that. Just thinking about, I feel like for anyone who's written from Clash of the Pencils, this is the experience. This feels the truest to the experience of getting started.
Right. And interesting that also PitchBot is the hero. I'm sure Storybot 3000 enjoyed that part of it. That the robot was coming in to save the day. Also mentions a crow. So Crow Week still in effect here
Crow Week,
at Clash of the Pencils. So yeah, with that, I mean, there's only one thing to do now, and that's just keep moving forward. There's only one way out of this, and That's going through Howard Stern, not Howard Sternbot. I'm Howard Sternbot. I've already had my recognition and fame. Why has this writing contest consumed me? It's no secret my radio show's been lacking. I had to cancel the Beetlejuice appearance due to a fist fight we got in after he criticized my writing. He was right. Turns out you don't have to be a good word writer person to know bad writing when you see it. What was that story last night? How could I have turned into such a mediocre hatchet job? I try to tell my wife I should have new guests on my show, like that clone of Sylvester Stallone who sells the stolen cologne. Remember that jingle? Smells like it tastes and it tastes like bologna, alcohol-based so that makes it cologne. 2 sprays of the paste on your inner collarbone, you can call it bologna cologne. God, I love when you sing that jingle. Smile, my betrothed. I told her if I get Stallone's clone on my show, or maybe Slice with his spoken bird poetry, that I could give up this writing hobby, as the show would have a chance to fulfill me once again. I gotta do something. Last night was the worst. I won the contest and bested other submissions that were clearly better in every way. This was a robbery. It brought back the memories of when my senior class voted the special needs kid homecoming king for some humorous virtue signal. Regardless, the crown did look good on me that year. Go Bulldogs. My old crow of a wife suggests I take a walk on our private beach. Our house off of Harry Potter King Jr. Boulevard had the best sandy beaches, and the homeless kept it very clean and kept away until dusk. I mutter something about never being able to write God's gold in the parameters of 1 page and a Ticonderoga. Only litter I can see on my beach is a bottle with what looks like a letter encased. I read it all. What it said will require 1 more page, baby. So the rambling of Howard Stern's addled mind, revealing Stern is Howard Sternbot, but he's burnt out from his radio show and is participating in Clash of the Pencils instead. Yearns for a clone of Sylvester Stallone's cologne salesman, or Slice with bird poetry to get his passion back. Stern's wife encourages him to take a walk on the beach to clear his mind, in which Stern finds a message in a bottle, contents unknown for lack of a second page.
I find this, I feel like what you've just done is the extent to which we can interpret this on the scale that we have put out there. It subverts. There's no known story structure here, and yet it is fascinating. I'm very. It almost feels like unfiltered user feedback on the contest with some sort of gesture towards the stories. Why is this so compelling? You don't have to write good words to sort of recognize good writing. Feeling the imposter syndrome of nabbing the first place, even after you might not necessarily agree with it. I think there's a lot of authority. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening here, but there again is no plot.
Right. I think that's a very, very good analysis that you just did there, though, it's in this first person perspective of the mind. It's kind of similar to Champions in that way, of like, these are the thought processes going through Howard Stern's mind as Howard Stern competes in Clash of the Pencils.
Whereas with Champions, it was really playful, and the fact that it was different characters and there was a brain cell. This was like the voice, the CEO's voice, just kind of going without the other employees. It was unified to a place of uncomfortably close. Uncomfortably close.
I think uncomfortable is definitely a good word to use for this one. But yeah, that's my notes just says character drove it. It was driven by the character. The plot is obscure, but like something's going on. I'm not sure what.
I think what's going on is that Howard Sternbot is submitting. He's going through the act of submitting to the contest every day, and he doesn't realize why, but he is winning.
And yeah, and then the setting is fuzzy, but points for Old Crow working in Old Crow for the Crow Week.
Crow Week, folks. It's now a week.
It's happening.
It is.
It's all right, and so. Yeah, just a large triangle there.
Let's pivot and own crow stories on the internet. We're gonna own that monopoly. Yeah,
all crow all the time. It's called Crow of the Pencils.
Yeah,
Crow of the Crows. And we're working on it, folks. Just keep that user feedback coming. All right, with that, the final story of the night coming from Slice. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see where this takes.
You know what's a scary thought?
What's that?
Like maybe Slice will bring us back to a recognizable form of reality. Maybe Slice will be more easy to interpret. What are the odds of this, Tom? What are the odds?
Probably close to 0, if I had to guess.
Okay.
But there's only one way to find out.
Let's do it.
Every summer, we'd gas the van for a beach day to look through the trash. In our Wildwood beach spot, the waste pile was deep, ripe, and hot. Name it, it had it. Straws, bags, casings, masks, cups, jugs, bottles, papers, cans. Name it, it had it. One perfect day each summer, we'd dive in. More than perfect was the drive down the shore where Dad'd recount the legend. The story of the pluperfect summer where Dad drifted from his family, while they based in the Atlantic sun, over a big dune into a hole full of rubbish. Imagine, he'd say, all those jaunts landing there till decay, living for decades and resting for centuries after, there by the sea. By the time we'd hit Avalon, he'd hit the bottled note bit. He'd say, sharp brown eyes fixed on us in the back seats through the mirror. He'd pop a wine bottle, pulling out a letter which read, "Come yearly to this plot to find whatever followest ye heart and mind, riches do roll in for thee in this trash mountain at the sea." The tale's end always fit pluperfectly with our pull-up to the beach. Us kids scuttled out like crabs with shovels, gasping to push our legs up the dunes fast. Up top, we'd flop in the junk pool, Mom slowly dipping her foot in first. Dad strutted behind us all, Ray-Bans, straw hat, shirt open to his flatulent soda gut, basking in the celestial light thrown back from aluminum and glass. His pluperfect simper made us smile, and he'd let us rummage for hours. The morning lighted turn noon and after, dusk and night too soon. We marched vanward, full-hearted, null-headed. With the doors all shut before the engine turned down, we'd soak in the smell of the day and sigh collectively. Years and Dad passed, the heap abated, and the county covered the dregs with sand. I still recall my dad with that pluperfect smile as he watched his family frolic in the offal for a day each summer. So, a family beach day in a New Jersey trash pile. Not just a trash pile, but a secret family trash pile fit for a multi-hour story from Dad until arriving there. After a day in the trash that ends too soon, the family takes one last whiff of the Wildwood garbage pile before heading home. Although the narrator's father and the trash pile are both now buried under 6 feet of dirt, the memory of those days etched in the narrator's mind's eye permanently.
I feel like the pluperfect summer, pluperfect got repeated one too many times, but I was fascinated. I was very excited. The story of the pluperfect summer. It happened. We started with the really strong setting, beach day to look through the trash, name it, it had it. And then we get this incredible collection of objects, just incredible collection. I was there. The setting was very, very strong. Then we get the story of one pluperfect. So it transitions there, and then we get the scene, which was an interesting structure. And then we get the extended meditation of sort of combing through this family's private trash pile, which instead of being seen as trash, felt like treasure.
Mhm.
For those of you who don't know out there, the pluperfect is a tense. It's a verb tense. It doesn't mean perfect or in the sense of perfection. It means past the past tense. It's whenever you use the word had driven. So driven, or like I drove and then I had driven to the store. It has already been completed in the past. So it's the way you get double passed. And I thought it was really, really clever because it's talking about something that had already passed, and that the fact is it's done, it's over. There's a finality to the pluperfect. And
Mhm.
so I feel like knowing that and seeing the symbolism, it had a little, I don't know, a twinge of melancholy, a twinge of time gone by. It was
Little
both
nostalgia.
nostalgic, it was very
Yeah.
nostalgic, but it also was kind of like a little bit of mourning, and anything that's been discarded, the fact that the trash was a treasure. I also feel like, anyone who, it makes me wonder, what can we make the connection? I'm like struggling. I'm like, don't say that. But it's like there is something about memories, and do those, like, if people are no longer there, are they just treasures in people's minds? Are they sort of the trash to other people objectively? Obviously, anyone who's buried is like gone, but like their spirit lives on in people as the treasure. It seems like it's doing some interesting work along that exact.
Yeah. And in that same sort of thing, like those memories when sometimes you look back on it and you're like, wait, were we just wading through a garbage pile? Like we had such a great time, but like was that, like the nostalgia of childhood of these experiences that we end up having, and then only removing yourself from it by a couple decades or so can you really analyze and see what's going on beyond just the moment and that you're in and having fun. So I don't know, I really what it is Slice has this great way of characters acting normal about idiosyncrasies
Yeah.
that make the reader really want to like dive into their psyches and
The
be like,
he has some of the quirkiest characters that are
yeah,
holding it together, and then a wordplay that is so antic and manic. It just like
yeah,
it's got so much electricity.
yeah.
Uh just shout out flatulent soda gut. That's exquisite.
Yeah, that was that was a good one.
The
I also enjoyed where he was like the trash pile had everything, and then just names like straws, cups. It's not like it's a
yeah,
trash pile that's got like
it's no
Persian
magical
rugs.
objects. It's
Yeah,
not,
no, no,
it's
no.
not
It's
Mary
just
Poppins bag here. It's
all
just a bunch of trash inventory.
any trash you could imagine. It's in this pile, and
Yeah.
it's right there.
It was interesting. I thought the first use of verse that we've seen from him was incredibly, it felt highly significant, but it was hard in the flow. These are so dense. It's hard in the flow to untangle it. So can you help me understand that? Take me through what happened, because the bottle has the verse. The verse is celebrating the trash.
Right. I mean, so how I read it was this dad, he starts talking about this trash pile, once they get on the road, right? And he's like, "Oh man, this trash pile this was like that back in the good old days when me and my family were going to the beach. They were just hanging out on the beach, and I found this super cool trash pile. Like, oh man." And so he's been going on this for like an hour, and then when he hits Avalon, so like some sort of mile marker or highway sign or, off the road, that's when this guy's halfway through his whole routine and he pulls out this wine bottle with the message in it. And I assume it's like proof of one of the treasures that this guy has found in the trash pile in the past. And it was a message in a bottle that says, you're, you're sifting through me treasure, or whatever. So that's how I took that message in the bottle, as like a piece of trash that this man had found in the past that he is then showing to his kids, which is also in the past in this story, to get them excited to run into the trash pile for the day.
It's almost like the bottle, the message in a bottle is the like poetic, romantic, nostalgic spin, the verse of it, the experience in language. We kind of like, it gets us so hooked. that we don't see the trash for the trash. It can make the trash magical or treacherous,
Right.
and like the bottle does that. And it's sort of like maybe that's how all of our memories are. Maybe they're
Right.
seen through the
Just sifting through a warm, hot trash pile that you want to just take a whiff of with your family one more time before you go home. You know, it's
that's all I want. One more time. One
and
more time.
good, interesting to note too. This was the second story with a rhyme. Howard Stern had that odd jingle about the bologna cologne,
Yeah.
which wasn't really
We
attached to
didn't-
the story at
we
all.
didn't really cover that one.
But-
I was hoping to just skirt on by. I had no idea what
But
to
just
do
an
with that one.
interesting sort of connection there that these authors are having
Yeah.
through the ethereal plane, waviness, as we used to call it back in the day in Williamsburg. So interesting stuff there, and yeah, no crows though. Slice
crows.
missing out on.
It's such an easy place for a trash pile. Feels like a crow would be nearby. with a
forward.
dull- yeah.
crow forward setting.
Yeah.
But none of this really matters because you, the folks out there, you know, you have your opinions, we have our opinions, and we didn't determine the winners. You guys did. So let's just get this show or continue it on the road. I got to hit the update leaderboard button. It tells me that it has successfully updated. So now all I got to do is hit refresh, and we will see who took home the day with these stories. And it is Howard Stern with 190 points, Slice with 165, and Champion with 150. It is to note that Howard Stern and Champion both got 50-point bonuses from Storybot 3000 for their use of crows in Crow Week. So Slice, it looks like Slice got the top spot technically via the vote. But if he had or she had just worked in that crow, they would have gotten a 50-point bonus and really taken home the day. So Howard Stern trapped in his worst fear, which is yet again being crowned champion for a lackluster story with no plot discernible.
It's a testament. I mean, just pure resistance to the story form is art. It's
That's
like, what are the notes you're not playing? What are the notes he's not hitting? Exactly.
Right. That's what the readers out there are reading.
Yeah.
So let's see the weekly scores now. Slice in the lead with 420 points. Howard Stern with 372. So still right there, keeping neck and neck with Slice. Green 18 not submitting today, losing a lot of ground. That's going to hurt Randall Cobb, I assume.
Tough. Yeah.
In the
Must
long
have had
run.
a lot of walkthroughs. Don't know.
Yeah.
Installing that offense, you know?
Yeah.
Can't just be scribbling down these stories.
Well, sometimes you got to put your hobbies ahead of your work, you know?
You do.
And let's see, Howard Stern Bot here in fourth with 269. Champion making some moves, but still outside looking in here at 259 in fifth place. Joanna Man, repeat, Uncle Screwtape not submitting stories and therefore not really getting too many points in their column.
All right, I gotta go. Let's do these. Let's do the time.
All right.
Oh.
An evil wizard controls the weather. Discuss. Since you have to go, I won't make you say where you would go with that. But let's do the top 5 sentences of the day real
about
quick.
Global warming.
Oh wow! See, I didn't want to ask, and then all of a sudden, number 5 from Slice. In our Wildwood Beach spot, the waste pile was so deep, ripe, and hot. Name it, it had it. Straws, bags, casings, masks, cups, jugs, bottles, papers, cans. Name it, it had it. Number 4, also from Slice. With all the doors shut before the engine to turn, we'd soak in the smell of the day and sigh collectively. Just a pluperfect moment for Slice.
That is a pluperfect moment.
Number 3 from Champion. How about we write up this pitch meeting and hopefully Tom and Greg interpret it as an allegory on corporate life and decisions by committee, PitchBot 3000 queried.
It's scary how accurate that is, PitchBot 3000.
PitchBot 3000 really knew their audience there, it seems like. Number 2 from Howard Sternbot. Remember the jingle? Smells like it tastes like bologna. Alcohol based, and so that makes it cologne. 2 sprays of the paste on your inner collarbone. You can call it bologna cologne. God, I love how you sing me that jingle.
Thank you for that performance. That really brought it home. I get it now.
You know, it's a jingle, and so it's just got that jangle. You know, I do it for you. I do it for Howard Sternbot, and I do it for Storybot 3000 as well. Of course, the internet fans that we have probably enjoy it, hopefully. And the number 1 story of the night, as ranked by Storybot 3000, coming from Champion, saved by a robot again, said the CEO. Write that up. Storybot, obviously, again, just having an affinity for that robot. The Machina X Deus.
I love that. The Machina X Deus. It was an inside out story.
Yeah, it's so very good. So there you have it, folks. That wraps up another round, another night of Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream. So join us tomorrow for a word hoax at 11:30 a.m. And then, of course, same night, same time, same place here for the nightly live stream. And we'll see you out on the paper. Do you want to participate in the Clash of the Pencils and Story Squad universe? It's easy. Join us on Twitter or in our Discord server at Story Squad HQ. There's lots of ways to participate. Draw some fan art. Play our addictive game of jokes and master strokes, Word Hoax. Or join Greg's monthly book club. And as always, remember to pay your cat tax. Money, fame, and love can all be found here at Story Squad.